Just about a month ago, I reviewed the new 2024 Crosstrek and the 2024 Impreza, both really great cars. If you're interested in those videos, they will be linked below. And among the two, the Crosstrek was my favorite. And this week, we've had the opportunity to drive and review the new 2024 Crosstrek Limited. There aren't really major differences between the Limited and the Premium, which is what we drove earlier. Outside of the larger engine and a few bits, there are a few key enhancements to discuss, so let's dive into it. So diving into it, the crystal white paint color complements the Crosstrek Limited beautifully, definitely accentuating those black accents, providing a sleek and attractive appearance. And as I mentioned in the previous Crosstrek review that I did, the Alpine green I think also looks really good in here. Our vehicle last time was a blue color I could have done without, but this black and white scheme I definitely like. The 2024 has new exterior design that Subaru wants to communicate a ready for adventure spirit. With the taller stance and the black cladding, I think they did a really good job here. We do have the frameless hexagonal grille with that Subaru badge proudly up front. We have full LED steering responsive headlights and LED fog lights here, and these are an improvement over the premium trim that we had before. There are several functional aerodynamic improvements that enhance these small crossovers' overall performance and stability. So you can see around that black cladding, you get a bunch of small tweaks to the aerodynamics, and these definitely do help with stability. They're not just there for looks. Our wheels here are 18-inch dark gray with machine finished alloy wheels. Those are wrapped in all-season tires, which are good for 99% of what you would do on day-to-day driving. If you want to do more trail driving, you can put beefier tires on this and it will run just fine. The stance of the new style does give us a little bit more broad of shoulders. We do have the raised roof rails up there ready to carry a load. And we do get the keyless access with push button start. So it does have the remote key with the touch sensitive door handles, so you can lock and unlock without ever taking the key out of your pocket. Talking about the size of this thing, your total length is 176.4 inches. Your wheelbase is 105.1 inches. And we do have an 8.7 inch ground clearance. And moving towards the rear of the vehicle here, you can see we do have the Subaru badge, the symmetrical all-wheel drive badge, and our Crosstrek badge. This is a gas strut lifting hatch. It's not an auto lifting hatch. But as far as the cargo volume goes here, you're looking the same as the other trim we had. Not too much different back here. You do get a cargo capacity of 19.9 cubic feet with the seats up in the back row. You can fold those down. It's a 40-60 split, and that'll give you a total cargo volume of 54.7 cubic feet. And again, the back here is equipped with lots of rubber and tough materials, so sliding stuff in and out, packing it full of gear, not a problem. But with that, let's go ahead and move on to the engine under the hood, which is a big difference from the last one we drove. Let's check it out. All right, and under the hood here is the big difference in this and the previous trim that we drove. That one had a 2-liter Boxer engine that pushed 152 horsepower, 145 pound-feet of torque, and in the grand scheme of things was just fine for day-to-day driving. Of course, I was left wanting a bit more power, and after driving the Impreza with this engine, I definitely wanted to drive this trim with this engine in it. And what we have here is the 2.5 liter Subaru Boxer engine with auto start stop technology. It's pushing 182 horsepower, 178 pound-feet of torque, and is matched up with a CVT transmission with an 8-speed manual shift mode. So again, I didn't really mind too much for day-to-day driving the power that came out of the Premium, the more base engine, but this one, the Limited with the 2.5 Boxer, definitely gives you that extra oomph that you might be desiring It's still under 200 horsepower, but really that's not a big issue. We'll talk more about that as we take it for a drive. But before we can do that, let's take a look at the interior. All right, in here in the driver's seat, first off, we're not checking out the back seats in this video. We did in the other. There's not much difference back there. I fit just fine. I'm 6'1". Kids fit just fine back there. You've got USB Type-C and USB Type-A charging ports back there. Lots of conveniences, but we're going to focus on the driver position and the tech in this thing. And you can tell that Subaru is going for a more premium look, a more luxurious feel sort of with this one, the limited trim. We do have leather seats. You've got a mix of some black gray leather with brownish or orange stitching that carries over to the door trimming. We've got a carbon fiber like trim, also leather wrapped steering wheel. These seats are heated seats, 10-way power adjustable. All really nice. Let me give you a better look around and start this thing up and let you see all the tech that we have here. Start off by turning it on with the push button start. And you can see Subaru's STARLINK 11-inch multimedia navigation system. So this is a bit of a step up from the one that we had, although it's the same size of screen. You do get a bit more features. You can see we do have Apple CarPlay enabled here, and it is wireless Apple CarPlay. You also have a wireless phone charger down here and a USB Type-A and USB Type-C charging ports. This limited trim is also equipped with a Harman Kardon speaker system, which sounds pretty good. We do have the traditional gear shifter. Putting it into reverse does reveal the backup camera. Got our heated seat buttons down here, electronic parking brake, an accessory charger, cup holders, cushiony armrest with a decent size cubby. You can see our leather wrapped steering wheel, lots of buttons on here. We also have paddle shifters back there. This is a CVT like we mentioned, but it does have the 8-speed simulated gear shifting. Behind the steering wheel is our analog gauge cluster with small LCD in the middle. And of course you can toggle through a few different pages here. And another feature is the sunroof that we have here. Tilt, slide, something we didn't have in the last trim either. But other than that, there's not a ton more in the interior to talk about. Let's get this thing out on the road. So one of the things I really like about the Crosstrek over its kind of sister car, the Impreza, is that you do sit up a bit more. It is a bit more comfortable of a ride, especially being in Texas. You're confident that small jumps off the road aren't gonna be a problem in this thing. It's just a more comfortable and confident drive, but it's still small enough where it doesn't feel cumbersome, even if you're like downtown Dallas or driving on tighter city streets. For me, it's kind of a best of both worlds situation, and that's really kind of why I like this segment as a whole, but this Crosstrek does really do it for me. Immediately out the gate, you can tell this thing has more power than the premium trim, that 2-liter engine. You're not using that power all that often, and we do still have a CVT transmission, so it doesn't feel sporty, but when you put your foot down, it's noticeable, and the extra power is appreciated. Again, I could live with the 2-liter engine, but I would prefer the 2.5. Your fuel economy is rated at 26 city, 33 highway, with a combined at 29 miles per gallon. We've been averaging just over 27 miles per gallon during the whole week. That's letting it idle a bit as we take pictures and video, and pushing on it a bit more if I just own this vehicle. So you can probably get closer to that 29 as a combined average. I also don't do a ton of highway driving during my weekly commute, so there's that. Again, we do have the steering wheel with paddle shifters. I've never felt the need to really put this into manual mode and manually row the simulated manual shifts. I could see if you're doing some off-roading and you need to be in a low gear, hopefully that will help at least keep the revs up. But for day-to-day driving, day-to-day commuting, I've left it in normal mode all week and just normal driving, not touching the paddle shifters, perfectly fine. But if you do need to go into an off-road mode, we do have the dual function X mode with hill descent control. And those modes are a snow dirt or deep snow mud. So you can kind of see what they're gearing your off-road driving to, basically keeping your traction as good as possible in slippery situations. We also have our SI drive modes, and those are controlled by a button here on the steering wheel. You have your S drive and your I drive, and that's basically changing the torque curve of the engine. We also have the EyeSight Drive Assist system, and this is a pretty good system. It uses all the cameras built in up here by the rear view mirror. Will sense the lanes, so you got lane departure warning, but you also have lane keeping assist where it'll keep you in the lane and actually steer for you. You've got radar guided cruise control, so to keep you a certain distance from the vehicle in front of you. And from my experience, it's not the top in its class, but it's pretty close. It's a really good system. And if you're up on a highway doing a road trip, it'll really help just ease the fatigue and keep you safe. And just overall, it's a nice vehicle, nice size, really drives well. Again, the extra power out of this 2.5 liter engine really helps. The tech in here, while not being top notch, is good enough. It is a minimalist interior, which I do like and think it fits Subaru's style really well. And I'd say that I'm a fan, but all of that comes down to how much does this thing cost. So let's pull back over. We'll talk about the price, the different trim levels that are offered here, and then we'll wrap it up with some final thoughts. All right, so talking price and trims really quick to wrap this thing up. The Crosstrek lineup offers multiple trims, with the limited trim being the highest. The base model starts at $24,995. A step up from that is the premium, which is the one we reviewed earlier this year, with the base price of just over $26,000. And then you have the Sport at $28,995. And finally, this limited at just over $30,000, and this one that we're sitting in here has a full MSRP of just over $34,000. And do I think that $34,000 is worth it for this? Well, let's jump back out and I'll wrap this thing up with some final thoughts. So after spending a week with the Crosstrek Limited, it's clear that this adventure-ready crossover has a lot to offer. The limited trim with its more potent engine and enhanced features is well worth the upgrade. And whether you're heading off-road or navigating city streets, the Crosstrek delivers a balanced and enjoyable experience. With its spacious interior, good power, good tech, well-rounded drive, the Crosstrek is definitely a contender up in the top tier of its category, and it's something I definitely would recommend. No doubt, I'm a fanboy. And with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the Crosstrek, especially this limited trim. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already. We do a different review every week. You can also go check out txgarage.com for more written reviews as well as event and news coverage over there. Lots of great offerings by a lot of great authors. But with that, it's time to wrap it up. Thanks for watching.